Okay, yesterday we were talking about decision making statements. You remember that? Okay, we were talking about multiple if, and we did have discussed about this program, greatest of two numbers. We're using multiple if. So today we need to discuss about remaining programs, and then we need to move to the rest of the topics. Just a minute. Yeah, we have here. This is where we are doing yesterday. So this is multiple if. Today, let's try to complete all this multiple if thing. Okay, this if statements are conditional statements, so that tomorrow we can start with loops. Okay, so let's continue. We can try continue with these things. Okay, so now yesterday we had discussed this multiple if. What is multiple if? How multiple if works? All this screen not sharing up. Just a minute. Okay, let me share my screen. Thank you, Veer, for reminding me. Okay, now. So let us try to solve these programs. What is this program to check whether a number is even or not, or here is leap or not, and find greatest of three numbers. Let's try these three programs. So these were the programs we are solving. Maybe I'm just sharing you in the chart. If you want, you can also give a try. Now I think screen is visible, right? Are you able to see the screen? Okay. So audio, everything is fine, right? So now let us do these programs. So to check whether a number is even or not, we can try this with multiple if. So we tried with the simple if, this even or not program, we tried with simple if. We can close all this. Now right click new Python file, even or odd. So this is the program which we are going to do. Okay, even or odd.py. So for this, what we have to do, so this is the program we are doing with the multiple if. So let us try with multiple if. So how do you do this now? First, you need to declare a variable and assign some value. And then now you have to do some condition check. Check what is that even or not. How do you do that even or not? So for that, you need to use if statement. If that don't use comment for this variable. So here declaring okay, you can just add a comment variables. Now the condition to check even or not, if a percentile to equal to 0, then you can say print. So you can say use a placeholder, double quote start, placeholders, put a placeholder. That number is even. So whatever number is apply format and pass that variable a. So if this number is divisible by 2 and remainder equal to 0, then this number is an even number. So if this condition is true, then definitely number is even. And we are printing that number is even. So this is one thing. Suppose if we want to check for odd, right? So same thing, copy paste it. Okay. If a percentile 2 equal to 1, you can say not equal to 0 or equal to 1. Anything should be fine. So if you apply this, this gives you odd number. So here you can say number is odd and you can print that variable. Okay, that in place of this placeholder, this value gets substituted. That's all. So this is simple program to check whether even or not, even or odd otherwise. Okay, we have two, you can see we are applying multiple if here to check. First, we are trying to validate which scenario, even scenarios. Again, we are validating odd scenario. So you can see here now. Okay. Now, finally, you can run this and see the output. By looking at this variable and value, we know that this is an even number. So definitely we get output as that number is even. Okay. So now run this. Now you can see here 10 is even. Suppose you view this as the odd number. Okay, now run this. Now you see 11 is odd. So this is how we can simply create a program using multiple if here, right? So are you good with this? Clear, right? Maybe you can also quickly test these programs. Okay, you can give a try out with these programs. So this is the idea about what is that even or odd. Next program. So are you good with this? Just try to test this program from your side, or you test it yourself once. Okay. Next after that is leap or non-leap. Same program. We can try with multiple if. We tried with simple if. So what I suggest is you can give a try with the multiple if. So what do you do? How to test this leap or non-leap? Right click again, new Python file and create it as a leap or non-leap. Okay. You can create like this a simple program. Again, what is that you should do to check whether an year is leap year or not? The first thing you should do is first declare variables. Okay, you can declare a year here, year equal to, you can assign something from any year of your choice, something like 2024, and then apply a condition check if year percentile. You can try like this year percentile 4 equal to 0. You can see here. So generally when an year is leap year, if it is divisible by 4, because leap year comes for every 4 years. So what is that we should do here? We have to divide year with 4 and equal to 0, equate it to 0. So that will validate, that will check whether an year is a leap year or not. Okay, so now what is that you should do? Print in double quotes, open this is year is leap, okay, and then apply format method and then pass year to the format. Okay. Similarly, what you have to do, copy this year percentile not equal to 0. What is this now? You can write here that year is non-leap. Okay. Non-leap year or leap year. You can create something like this. So same thing. It is a simple thing you can see here. If you divide by 4 and equal to 0, it is leap. Not equal to 0, it is non-leap. Now 2024, by looking at that year, you can easily understand. You can usually say if it is an year or if it is leap year or non-leap year. So what is this now here? This is a leap year. Let's run this and see. You can see here 2024 is leap. Suppose you give 23, right click, it's non-leap. Okay, this is how you should simply create programs. And multiple if, this helps you to test this in all possible scenarios. So this is the advantage with multiple if frames. If it is simple if, you can check a condition only for one time, that too only if condition is true. With multiple if, you can check all possible scenarios. You can see here, friends. So this is the idea here. Okay, understood now? So you can also try this program. Let's test this program. This is a leap or non-leap, okay? Next one. What is next one? Greatest of three numbers with multiple. Another program is finding greatest of three numbers. How to find this? Simple. You go to the program. So here, first create a new file, Python file, and say this greatest of, you can say 3. Okay, and then enter. Now, how many variables should I create here? First, declare variables. So how many should I declare here? Declare variables. So first thing you need to declare, if we should find greatest of three numbers, you need to declare three variables. How many variables, sir? Three variables. Say A equal to 10, B equal to 5, C equal to 6. Or if you want to initialize values dynamically, if you want to read from keyboard, you have to use a method called input. In that, you have to just pass. So input is enough just for readability or just for push user to ask some value. You can add a text here, enter K. This is like prompting user to input that value, to enter that value. This one, this string. So this is the function used to input a value from keyboard. But by default, this accepts a value as string. Whatever you input from keyboard, this input function accepts as a string. Now we don't want string value. We want an integer value to do this comparison. So this whatever the input function, which whatever this input function accepts from keyboard, which is a string, that you have to convert it to integer. You know how to do the conversion, right? If you want to convert any value to integer, just apply this conversion function. Now pass this input function to this int function so that whatever value you input from keyboard is converted to integer. But very important point is, in this case, you have to pass only numeric string. What string? A string that is a number, not alphanumeric string or character string. It leads to error. Okay, just remember. Now, this is how you can input a value from keyboard and convert it to integer here. Why we should convert it to integer? Because this input function accepts a value as a string value. So that we have to convert to integer to do the comparison. So now do the same for 3 times. So one for one for providing input for A, and second time for B, third time for C. So this is how you can just use dynamic initialization. Now after that, checking condition. So how many times we should do this condition check? We need 3 if blocks this time. To compare here, when you need to find greatest of 3, we have to compare A with B and A with C. So what is the validation rule here? So one thing is compare A with B and A with C. This is one validation. Again, we should compare B with A and B with C. This is second validation. And third one, C with A and C with B. So these are all possible validations we should do when you are finding greatest of 3 numbers. Okay, are you following, friends? So Suri, you are getting this right. So this is what you should do here when you are trying to validate or compare values here. Now, how do you check condition? You can check like this: if simply A greater than B and A greater than C. Apply this. You can see here we have multiple conditions So we are trying to concat this multiple conditions with logical operator, and here you can see it, because here both conditions should be true if A should be true, or here these two conditions should be true if B should be true, or these two should be true if C should be true. So that's why combine this with AND operation. Okay. If any one condition fails, then the A is not bigger. Else, if you come here, if any one condition fail here, B is not bigger. Similarly, same thing applicable for C here. Okay. So now you just apply a print statement. What is that? Print, put a placeholder and say that is big. Okay, that's all. Then you can say format. You can just try a format. So what happened? Quick dot format of A. Maybe if you want A is bigger than B and C, then you can add is some, you can a placeholder is, in place of that A comes is bigger than. If you want to add much more meaningful print statement, you can just create like this. So this placeholder is bigger than B and C. So second placeholder is for B and third placeholder is for C. You can pass A comma B comma C here. This is how you can create a simple program here. Okay. Now what do? You can simply create like, again, B greater than A and B greater than C here. Okay. Similarly, one more if block to validate C. So you should use three if blocks if you want to find greatest of three numbers using multiple if. So here also just change it to, what is that, C greater than A, and what is that, you can do C greater than B. Okay. This is how you should create a simple program. Just change these values here. In this case, this should be B, A comma C. In the last case, C should be bigger, so C should come first, and then B comma A comma B. Anything order is fine, no problem. First, C should come in the last case. In the second case, B should come first. In the first case, A should come first. So this is how you can do the greatest of three numbers. This is the validation you can create for greatest of three numbers here. You can see here. Okay, shall I run this now? Let's run it. We don't know this time which is bigger because we are trying to input values from keyboard. So unless we enter values from the keyboard, we don't know which is bigger, A or B or C. So that is in suspense as of now. So what do we do right now? Let us try to run this program. Okay, right click and then say run greatest of three. You can see here, you can see it is asking to enter a value from keyboard A10. You can give B as 5 and C as 3 and enter. And you can see 10 is bigger than 5 and 3. This makes more sense, right? You can see the output here. So we try to input three values from keyboard. Even though these values look as integers here, but these are numeric strings. Whatever we input from keyboard, they are treated as strings. That is why we are doing this conversion, this input function, we are passing it to int function here. We are doing a conversion of that numeric string to integer here. This one you can see here. If you don't do that, you don't get expected results. Okay. So that conversion is also always recommended to do so that you can do proper comparison or proper validation. Right. So that is the idea, friends. You can see the output. Maybe you can give one more try. Run it again. This time give B as some 5, A as some 10, C as some 3. This time B is bigger. So we should get that 10 is bigger than 5 and 3. You can see here, right? So means we are directly trying to, give that validation. which is bigger here, and that we are trying to print and see. Here this time the value of B is bigger, and that is what we are showing here. You can see here. Right. Similarly, maybe you can give a try. You can run one more time and provide the value of C as the biggest one and validate that as well. So you can test it as well. So when we have three scenarios, it's always good habit to test it for 3 times. First, you can test if A is bigger or not. Second time, we can test B is bigger or not. Third time, we can test whether C is bigger or not. So this is how you can keep testing, friends. You got it right? Is this clear? This is how you can create programs with multiple if. So this should give you a clear idea how to play with multiple if. So if you want, you can see here, even though we have three if statements, only one if will be true, remaining two will be false here based on the inputs you provide, right? So that is the idea. So maybe if you want, you can test this program by yourself as well. Yeah. Yes, somebody is asking. Yes, I'm pinging it in the chat. So you're not able to receive this program? Can you receive it? Or still, I didn't receive the program. Okay. I passed only one program so far. This one, leap or non-leap, you can take this. If you want, you can also have this. Even or odd. Today we tried this as well. So let me just paste for you. You can give it a try. So these are all programs we tried so far today in our class. Okay. Are you fine with these programs? Got clarity on this? Yeah, fine. Maybe for some reason you should have missed this. But it's okay, right? You got these programs. So what do we do right now? Let's continue. Okay, just give a test these programs if you want. Do you want a minute to test it? Do you like to test these programs? Yeah, just take a minute and test this. If you are done, it's fine. Just keep testing along with me. That helps you. Okay. This is all about, what is it, friends? About multiple if and some use cases to implement multiple if. Okay. So now what do we do? Let's take nested if, another very important use case, which is really needed when you are working in a real application. Okay. So what is nested if? So we have discussed so far three different forms of if: simple if, and then multiple if, and finally last one is nested if. But so let us see this now. What is nested if? Nested if means if inside another if, and you can see the syntax. You can see here, if condition one, under that you can have statements. Again, you have condition two, under that you can have some statements. Again, if you want, you can have one more condition inside second condition, and you can have some statements. So this is nested if. And if inside if is called nested if, friends. I hope this is clear. So here one difference between multiple if and nested if is, in nested if, condition one should execute first, then only you can go to condition two. Okay, and only if condition one is true, you can reach to condition two. If it is multiple if, what is that? Even if condition 1 is false, it will go and check condition 2. Even if condition 2 is false, it will go and check condition 3. So that's how the execution flow of multiple if is. But for nested if, it is not like that. Okay, you have if inside if, and if inner if should be executed, that is possible only if outer if is true. Otherwise, you cannot reach to inner if here. So this is the simple execution flow of nested if. You can do one thing. This greatest of three numbers, whatever you tried with multiple if, you can try the same program with multiple if, sorry, with nested if. So what you can do? So just let's create a simple use case to test this nested if with the greatest of what is it, friends? Greatest of three numbers. Are you ready for this now? Just a minute, friends. Right, let us do this now. So let us create a small simple program to test multiple if using greatest of three numbers. So go to the Python prompt again. So here, create here create underscore of 3. You can just add with nested if. So this time we are trying with nested if. Same program here. You can see here this greatest of 3 what we did with multiple if. We can rewrite this with multiple if, sorry, with nested if. Let us try that here, okay? So now you can close all this, okay? Let's not make clumsy so that it would be clear. Always make sure, just keep open whichever the program you are creating and close all other tabs. That makes more clear for you, okay? So here we tried to declare three variables as usual because we are finding greatest of three, but we are choosing a different construct, not simply for multiple if. We are using nested if. Again, we need three if blocks, like how we created with multiple if. So only difference is you need nested if. So you have to just create like this. If a greater than b, push this another condition check into this one. Now you can see this now. So put colon upwards. Don't forget to put colon. This is the syntax of if. What is that? If that condition and then put colon. Okay. And then indentation you have to follow properly because this is Python, right? I told you. So always you should maintain a proper indentation for all this. So this inner if, so outer if, after outer if, again push that into inner if, and then your print should be inside inner if. So this is how you should create or test whether a number is greater than other two numbers. You can see here. Now we are validating here. In the first case, we are testing which one greatest of three numbers. That is, we are finding if A is bigger than B and C. Similarly, what you have to do, you have to create two more if blocks, but nested if blocks. And here, as you are using nested if, you don't need any logical operator to combine these conditions as we are splitting that conditions into two parts. So you don't need any logical operator to combine conditions. You can see here. So here also you can remove this condition, close this and then enter and then put if. Okay. And then what is that you should do? This is how you can break down, put colon upwards. Don't forget to end this each if with colon. That is the syntax. If that condition colon and then statements has to be inside that if block here. Okay. Now you can see here. This is how you create. Again, you try to validate B if B is bigger than A and C. Okay. Similarly, you can try for C. You can create one more if block, put colon for this, again one more if, close the start bracket, and then push this print into this inner if block. You can see here, this is how we create greatest of three numbers with nested if. Only difference is we just removed that logical operator and pushed condition into inside of this outer if here. Here, if A should be bigger, both these conditions should be true. This should be true, this should be true. Else, this A won't be bigger. Similarly, if B should be bigger, this block should be true. Both of these conditions should be true. Then we can say B is bigger. Else it comes to C. Even if C should be bigger, both these conditions should be true. So this is how you can find greatest of three numbers with nested if, you can see here. Right? You can split these conditions one inside another and you can create it. Right? Same thing, what you did with multiple if, you can create with nested if. But the difference is nested if we try to split our conditions one into another if. Okay, so that even we get the same results. Results wise, we don't have big difference. But performance wise, definitely multiple if will have a better performance than nested if here. Okay. So that is the difference. If you ask me which is best here, if multiple if or nested if, definitely multiple if has better performance. Okay. But it's okay, that's fine. We are trying to understand how to implement this nested if. So no problem. Later on, when you are really doing coding, there you can decide which is best and which should you choose. You should we choose multiple if or should we choose nested if? All that you can decide. But for now, this is fine. So let's run this and see. Run this and see here. Enter A. You can give 10, some 5, and then some 4. And now you can see 10 is bigger than 5 and 4. Definitely 10 is nothing but A. The first if block will be completely true, but all other block remaining two if blocks will be definitely fail somewhere. So that's why we got output from the first if block here. You can see here from here. Okay, so this is how you can find greatest of what, friends? Greatest of three numbers. Following, friends. This is the idea, greatest of three numbers here. Is this clear for all of you? For Veer and Suri, are you good now? You can ask me if you have any questions or if you think that you didn't follow somewhere, what you can do. You can just stop me and ask me. Got it right? Okay, fine. That's fine. This is about these two. Okay, greatest of three numbers using nested if. Shall we jump to the next topic now? Finally, we try to cover all different forms of if, simple if, okay, multiple if, and then you can see here this is multiple if for all these programs. And then after that, we try to understand one more. What is that one more? Nested if. You can see here. Okay, greatest of three numbers. This is the idea. Understood now? So now after this, we jump to the next topic, that is if else. So let us finish if else and then we jump to elif. That should close the discussion of control statements. You got it right there. So let us discuss all this one by one. Okay. So Harry just joined. Okay. Let's continue with if else here. We just completed on three different things, Harry, on multiple if and programs on multiple if and nested if program. So next stop, maybe we have recorded that. It's a good session today as well. So you can go through that after session. Okay. I'll just share it immediately.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So if else, what is if else now? You can continue from here because you can easily follow this. These are all simple things. So now we'll continue with if else. If else means same like if. One thing you have to remember in these control statements, decision making statements, if is always a conditional statement. Which is conditional statement? If, because if you look at the program, conditions are always with if statement, not with else statement. That's why technically in programming, not only in Python, in any programming, if is conditional statement because the condition always lies with if, not with else. But else is a complementary block. In case if condition is false in with if, then it goes to else. That's all. But actual condition check is done with always with the if here. You can check anywhere in any language. That's why if is called conditional statement. What is it called? If is called conditional statement. Just remember. Okay. So now if else, it is a complementary or little extended functionality is if else. Same if with a little extinction. That's all. What is if here? What is the execution flow of if? If see, we have two things here, if and else blocks. If condition is true, you can see here something like this. Let me, these are all simple if forms here, not we need if else here. You can see here. This is the syntax. If condition statements, else statements again. After that, again, you can follow this syntax as is with proper indentation again. Make sure the indentation, you are following proper indentation with same spaces from the beginning. Okay, you can see here, this block should be indented with same spaces. Okay, what is the execution flow? If this condition is true, statements under if gets executed. If condition is false, it goes to else block. Statements under else gets executed. This is the execution flow, but most of you have a quick idea on this, but still I'm just giving you a quick walkthrough. Okay, we are just discussing it quickly. So this is the idea about if else here. And now same programs we did with simple if or multiple if or nested if, you can try with if else as well. What are those programs? You can try these programs again. Greatest of two numbers, even or not, leap or not. Okay. Greatest of three numbers. Maybe with this simple if else. Okay. With just simple if else, you can only just give a try for these three programs. Okay. You can try this first. We'll try these first three programs. Okay. With simple if else. Okay, these three. I'll also give you in the chat box. You can give a try. Okay, try these three programs. Okay, let me show you clearly how to work with this if else. Open PyCharm again, and then just again you can say here. So this is decision making. We did all this with the three different forms of if. Now what is this? Greatest of two. So you can create greatest of two with what? With if else. Okay, you can see here now. So what is that you should do here? Just declare two variables. So you say A equal to 10 and B equal to 5. Or if you want, you can, if you want to input from keyboards, just now I showed you how to input or read value from keyboard and how to do the conversion immediately. If those values we enter from keyboard should be numeric values. Okay. So now you can use input function to input a value from keyboard, enter A. Okay, and then you can use a conversion function int here. because we want this to be converted to this input, whatever values we enter from keyboard, they must be converted to integer. So apply conversion to integer. Similarly, do the same thing for one more time. Enter A, and then what is that you should do? Enter B. Okay. Now what you can do now? You can do check condition, checking condition, checking greatest otherwise. If A greater than B, you can simply say this is the condition we need to check greatest of two numbers. Okay, if not AB, you can choose any variables, X, Y, or anything. Okay, it's up to you, friends. Now print, what is it? So here, A, this first placeholder is for A. A is, you can simply say bigger than second placeholder, then you can apply format and A comma B you can choose. Okay, so this is how it should be. So we try to check if A is bigger than B and so B or not. So else, suppose if this is false, if A is not bigger, then we can put else and you can copy this here and just flip this print statement. You don't need any condition with else. Condition should be with if. If condition is true here, this block gets executed and then it will stop there. Else is not executed. If condition is false, then the control jump to else and then this print gets else block gets executed. Just make a small change here. When you come to else means B will be bigger than A. So first you should print B and then you should pass A. So that B is passed to the first placeholder. A is passed to the second placeholder. If you want, you can just debug as well. Okay, quickly you can debug. You can run this in debug mode. And then you can see here, I put a debugger with the if block here. So debugging starts from here. Okay. Now what you can do here when you start debugging. So it's here. Now what is that you have to do? It's asking value to enter from keyboard. Let's see. Some 10 and then some 5. Now you can see here, once you input values from keyboard, it started debugging here. And you can see this is step over, you can apply. These three options, all of you know very well. We are just discussing every day. So in this case, you can apply step over to check line by line execution of this program. So apply step over. By seeing the values, you know very well 10 is greater than 5. The condition is true with if itself. So which block gets executed? You should expect the control to be moving to the this if block. You can see here step over. You can see that entered into if here and we get output, but 10 is bigger than 5. Okay, and by that will complete the execution of program. So it got terminated. You can see here process finished with the exit code 0. Exit code 0 here. So that is the idea. You want to validate. Suppose again, let us debug it one more time. Let's give B as a bigger value. So B is A is 10, B is 20. Enter. Now you can just do the validation. This time the control doesn't enter into if block, but it will jump to else block. Why? Condition is false with if. So you can just say step over. You can see that a clear jump from if block to else block here and the control entered into the else block here, right? So when you just say step over, it just completes the execution of that else block. And you can see here 10 is bigger than, sorry, 20 is bigger than 10 here. This is the output we are seeing here. Following here, friends. Got it right? So this is the idea. Idea of what? Greatest of two numbers with if else and the execution flow of if else here. You can remove debugger now. Next program, we don't need to again apply the same. Okay. You got it, friends. This is the idea of greatest of two numbers with if else. Okay. Next one after that is what is it? We can try whether a number is even or not with if else. Before that, this is clear, right? So you can just give a try, test this program. I'm just sharing in the chat box. Okay, you can test it now. Test this program, okay? Do you want a minute to test this? Shall I wait for a minute? Or if you have already tested, please confirm in the chat box. Just test this code and confirm in the chat box. Okay. Shall I jump to next program? What is it? You can create, you can right click again. You can close this. We did maybe copy this. We'll just make it simple now. Right click new, go to the Python file, Python package, and then right click new Python file, create a new file. So even or odd underscore, you can just say if else. You are trying with if else, so I put it as if else. Okay, maybe you can also give, otherwise maybe you can say with if else. Okay, create it and paste the code here. Just try to input one variable from keyboard, checking even or odd, because to check if a number is even or not, one is enough for us. We don't need multiple variables. So if we pass one value, that one can be even number or odd number, that you should validate here. How to do that? If that number a percentile 2 is divisible by 2 equal to 0. If you divide with that number with 2 and if it is 0, then that is even number. So you can say, so that number is even. You don't need this another placeholder. One is enough this time. And then to this format method, just pass that variable a. Okay. Now, again, in the else block, copy this, change this print here. So this time just say else odd. You don't need condition with else here. We just put condition with if this is true, if block gets executed and we get output as that number is even. Else, this else block gets executed and then we get number is odd and print that a here. Okay. So this is the idea. So now that's all, friends. This is the idea about what is it? This if else with even or odd with if else. Now, if you run this, we don't know this time what is this a, because we are trying to input value from keyboard. Right click and then say run that. It asks, it will push us, prompt us to enter some value here. Give some integer, any integer number. So give some 20. Enter. 20 is even. Suppose run it again and give some odd number. Give some 11. Enter. It's showing 11 is odd here. So that itself is a clear idea. What is that? We are properly getting output here. We are testing both all possible scenarios. If it is even, if it is odd, all these scenarios. We have two scenarios here generally, and those two scenarios are passed. So we tested those two scenarios and they are working as expected. So your testing is perfectly fine and your code is working really well. So this is how you have to create programs, and test all possible scenarios. So that's about even or not. Similarly, you can give a try with leap or not with if else. You can also give a try with leap or not. Okay. So how do you do that? Just simply right click, create a new file on your Python package. Okay. And then leap or non-leap. With what? You should implement this with if else. With if else. Tomorrow, there is one more thing, last thing in this decision making, that is elif. Elif or nested if, what we call in other languages, or else if ladder in other languages, that we complete tomorrow and close this decision making statements and jump to which one? We start with loops. Very important and very useful. Okay. So we'll try to cover as many scenarios as possible and then jump to again this control, I mean, this strings actually, and then data structures. Like that, we start implementing step by step. And we try to involve as many problems, which we try to solve as many problems as possible in these for each of these programming constructs. You can see for if we covered so many use cases, right? This is not enough. These are all only the basic thing. But if you want to master programming, then you should know how to include these conditional statements into loops and do variety of problem solving. So when you do that, then only you master all these different basic fundamental constructs. So definitely we do all that because most of our sessions will be focused only on implementation. Okay. And only thing is you don't have a problem of any issues. Just ask me if you have any issue you didn't follow or anything. Don't just keep calm, okay, friends. So now leap or non-leap with if else. Same thing, just change this every year. Generally years are leap or non-leap. So enter year here. This is a prompt. Just prompt. Even if you don't pass this print, nothing happens. Just remember. But in the output, you don't have any prompt here. So again, you should know that we should enter some value. That's why just to make it more readable, we are passing a print statement inside this input. Okay. And just again convert it to integer because whatever we enter from keyboard is what it is treated as a string. So that string we should convert to whatever type we want. This time we want it to be integer. So using conversion function here, okay, which is integer. Now here do the validation. Leap year comes for, you can see here, just change this comment. We are testing leap or not. So leap year comes for every 4 years. So year divided by 4, if you try to equate to 0, that will validate if the year is leap or not. And then just change here, placeholder is year, leap year is, you can say leap year. Instead of a, print here the variable year. Here also print here the variable year. In the else plot, again, just copy this print here and then paste it here. Make some small change here. If you are coming to else means year is not leap. So you just simply say that placeholder in place of this your year is passed here. Year is not a leap year. So now this time this is the program to test whether year is leap or not with if else. Right, we already done this same scenarios with multiple if as well. By now you should become hands-on with all these constructs, with all this if constructs. Now what do you do right now? Let's try to run this program. You can run this. Try to input any year. Give 2024, that is enough, friends. Enter. So this is leap year. 2024 is a leap year. Okay. Suppose run it quickly again. This time give 2025. This is not leap year. You get 2025 is not leap year. So this is a quick check of whether any year is leap year or not. Okay. I hope this is clear for all of you friends. Are you good with this? It is a quick check. I'm just sharing the code in the chat box. Okay.
Sir, what is the difference between running in debug and running, sir?
Debug is generally used if you want to check. Suppose you are doing a big project somewhere, you are not getting values as expected, Hari. In such cases, we try to run the program in debug mode. Which mode?
Debug mode.
So the purpose of debug mode is to analyze line by line execution of your code and observe the values if values are coming properly or not, Hari. You get
Oh,
it?
okay, sir. Got it.
Okay, maybe suppose you see here, put a debugger here. Assume that this, if you are getting proper output from this validation. So what do you do? First do the debug, run the program in debug mode. Try to enter some value here, suppose 2026 here, okay? Now you can see, once you are here, it shows values. If you put cursor, it will show what value is passed to that. You can see here, it is showing what is it? 2026.
Okay.
So by looking at these values, we understand if the values are coming properly or not, Hari. Okay, suppose now go to the next line. You can see this condition is false, but if you put on year, it shows what value is in year here. You can see here.
Yes,
So
sir.
based on that, what we do is this control flow at each line, what is happening, and each line, if proper values are being passed or not. So you can do this analysis because more than keeping prints and seeing the output, debugging is the best option so that you can make it much more easier for you. You get it, Hari?
Yes, sir.
Usually in real time, you do this debugging only. Of course, there are two ways. Either you put print statements and debug it and see what is the output coming. Second thing, putting breakpoints and executing program in debug mode. But the question is, which one should we follow? Which is the best practice is the question. What is the answer?
To check debug is the easy, sir.
Correct. Putting the breakpoints and testing is the best choice, best practice. Even some time back, even I was not much interested in debugging. But these days, I am very much into this debugging operation only because anywhere if you miss values, debugging gives you a quick output results. Got
Oh,
it, Hari?
okay, sir. Yeah.
So that is the idea. Finally, it has jumped to that. You can say step over. So you can see here, 2026 is not a leap year.
Yes,
Got
sir.
output, right? So that is the idea, Hari. So before that, are you okay with remaining all other things, Hari?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So that's the idea. So I hope I answered your question. Good, right?
Yes, sir. Good, sir.
Okay. So how about you missed just first 30-minute session. So what do you want to do? Do you want to go through this recording and have a quick backup of that for tomorrow? Hari?
No need, sir. Yeah, I will go through, sir. On Monday, just if any doubts, I'll ask for a 5 minutes, sir.
Yeah, tomorrow also we have a session, Friday.
Oh, oh, sorry, sir. I think today Friday.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, no
I
problem.
will ask tomorrow, sir. I will go through and I will ask you, sir.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll stop recording now. So they will stop here.